Tampa. Okay. And how, okay. All right. That gives me a lot. And certainly you're comfortable in terms of doing presentations like rooms, things like that.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. And, just while I have you, and again, we're still waiting on people to jump in, but tell me what your most comfortable trait is. If I were looking for someone to kind of guide me through something, what's your most comfortable trait?
Guess I don't understand the question. I'm a business guy.
Okay.
I like to teach people business. I mean, honestly, that's what I'm all about. I spent an hour on the phone with a high school kid yesterday that wanted to sell me advertising.
And you were showing him the ropes on how to be a better phone salesman?
Well, no, not just that. He didn't have an LLC set up yet.
Okay.
He doesn't have E&O insurance. He doesn't know his market. And he's a good kid. I'm excited for him to build a business. But I went down the steps of some of the things that he needs to do in order to then come to someone like me and try to charge me $1,000 a month.
Gotcha.
For advertising.
Yeah.
And he's extremely grateful.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to help him not do it for him, but I'm giving him a guideline on how to do your LLC, how to talk about insurance, how to study the way he presented his pitch to me. Mm-hmm. Because I told him I get 30 calls a week, just like you, on how I can spend my money. Show me what my benefits are with working with you. So, I mean, my wife thought I was insane because I'm spending time. But he's a high school
that's
kid.
what we do sometimes, though, right? I mean,
he's a senior in high school in Clearwater, Florida. And why not give him a little bit of time, right?
Sure.
We had another agent that I thought we were going to get on board for Sean down south here. Sean's one of the team leaders. Mm-hmm. And the kid decided to go a different direction. I spent time on the phone with him the other day. He was looking for how to get leads to pay at close.
Got it.
And I told him, I said, hey, if you would have signed on with us, I would have done this easy, but I'm going to make it hard. No, I didn't make it hard on him. But I gave him the direction. I told him where to look and how to find it. Yeah. And we spent time on doing that.
Got it.
I can teach someone how to do the work, how to be successful, but it's really up to them in the end if they're going to take that and go with it. But definitely can provide the information.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, information's there. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you've got to sometimes you use a feather, sometimes you use a hammer. But, in a business like this, it's definitely, how do we get you performative? And sometimes you literally have to drag them. The old adage, lead a horse to water. Sometimes you got to drown the horse. It's like, I mean, it's sometimes you literally have to drown the horse, because it's like you may understand how a car works, but if I told you, hey, go out and pull the carburetor, there's 4 bolts, there's some springs, there's a gasket, you would intuitively understand it. But the minute you were faced with the thing itself, you go, I know he told me these things and it makes sense, but what is this thing, or what's the process, or how do I begin to or dismantle this thing? So it's a little of that. Yeah, one thing that I may have you do in the near term is just kind of do a couple of rooms and kind of talk about what you do to get in business and things like that, and we can kind of use that as a soft launch potentially for getting some business on your plate that could be sustainable. Certainly with stuff to offer and, skills. And I'm an old man, so, I think coming at life differently based on history, based on experience, is always a good teacher. I mean, certainly when I was young, there were, it was older people who actually kind of gave me a direction and, focus and those kinds of things. And that doesn't exist so much anymore. And it's not an ageist kind of statement, but it is that fact of there are old tactics that are highly effective that we shouldn't abandon. So, just kind of doing a little of that. But, I know you've had interest for more than a year. So I definitely like to see if we could kick off something and kind of go from there.
What I've noticed in Florida, and maybe that you see this in other states, there's no team here. There's no team atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's not a radius thing. Everyone's kind of individual. And when you put rooms together, nobody joins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think Tony did a room not too long ago, and I had 3 people join.
Yeah.
Kathy does one every week and get to know one to join but me.
Yeah, sometimes that's how we beat the trees. I talk to Kathy about that all the time. And that's really kind of where you start to look at your visionary thing, right?
Right.
You know, I'm a, you know, my biggest hobby in life is I'm a musician. You know, I've written music and performed for decades. And, you know, at some point I realized there's no career possibility in this, but, you know, still love it.
Yeah.
I look at guys who start like grassroots level and then build a following. And that's kind of literally what it is, just like real estate. I mean, I've built many brokerages, and it's all about kind of what we do at a grassroots level. These days have kind of made us a bit lazy in the sense that we wait for people to come versus going out and going, hey, the show's over here. Let me show you something, you know, and it's, you know, because there's so many options available to people these days. And then we look at educational content or just even a meeting like this. It's people look at it and they kind of go, do I need that? And they don't know if I need it or not, because sometimes we think we've reached our threshold, but it's the client that's not doing the right thing. It's not me, it's someone else, right? And it's literally, if as a leader, if you know that I have to do this thing to make this other thing happen, you know, you have to do that thing. And sometimes we adjust. So,
well,
you know,
I think to get rooms, I like the idea of rooms, not to cut you off, but I also like the idea of personal phone calls and emails to people in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is
Florida.
You know, if you think about the one-to-one versus the one-to-many, where are you the most effective? You're going to get your one-to-ones from your one-to-minis. So the more you can evangelize you, or that we can evangelize you, that's going to give you an opportunity. Because if we're looking at it from a performance level, you know, obviously it might be compensation based on, you know, how many deals this person's done, or you get a percentage of the deals that they do over X deals, that kind of thing. So if we're looking at it that way, we want to be able to showcase Mr. Schroeder that says, you know, I know I'm not saying it's Schrader, isn't it?
It's Schrader, yep.
That's, gosh, I knew
it doesn't bother me. I get it both.
No, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I knew I wasn't saying that right. Gosh, my bad. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
But you know that we're showcasing you in a sense to where we can build a following, not just in Tampa, not just in Venice, but in other proximal areas, so that, you know, you are the SME in those areas. That's what I'd really like to focus on, you know, when and if we do something, that would probably be the most effective. You know, one thing that you'll see, and I'm sure you've seen this already, is the remoteness of not only Radius, but real estate as a whole. So when you think about it, how long have you been in business, Chad?
Just under 10 years.
Under 10. All right. So yeah, I'm an old dog for sure. Right. You know, it was a proprietary business when I got into real estate. The internet did not exist at all.
Well, I remember looking through books and going to the one computer in a real estate office when I bought my first house. Yep.
Right. If you had a computer, right? I will tell you a true story. So it was like fire. I remember my first real estate office. So I started my real estate career in Santa Barbara, and it was, you know, it was kind of funny because we got our first computer, right? Internet was definitely a dial-up, a 56K modem kind of thing. But we got our first computer and it was just like, we were like cavemen. But we had a title rep who bought us our first printer, which was a dot matrix printer. I don't know if you remember, they used to be wildly expensive peripherals. They were just ridiculous. But we all thought this thing was kind of cool. And we thought, oh my God. So it made, you could then download, I guess, the book from the MLS, even though it was just easier to get it. And we had folks just flooding our offices. But, you know, basically where I'm going with that is when it was proprietary, they had to come to us.
Right.
Now that even the way we interact with others is evolving and changing, and we are distal to one another. COVID proved a lot to us. You know, we now have to navigate that landscape in a very different way. And, as we're beating the trees, to find our next deal or to generate interest, it's a very different process now. And I think that one-to-many aspect, as I was saying earlier, is probably going to be the most effective way of generating a buzz or generating interest. I think that most real estate brands are going towards teams. Even KW. KW is looking at a more of a kiosk model, a little small, 200 to 500 square foot space to where you drop in, do a quick thing, and pop out. Just because the overhead of real estate, and it's not just economically, but it's kind of the landscape of the world. I mean, think about it. 10 years ago, we didn't have, what was the big thing 10 years ago? Skype, right? You had to have a Skype account to be able to video chat. Now everybody's got it on their phone in a blink, and it brings the world much closer together. We just need to figure out how to marry these technologies with our lifestyles. I mean, young people do it reasonably effectively, but then they also miss out on a lot of things. Whereas, we look at how it's done differently. Hey, Scott, we're just kind of having a discussion about, A, leadership, B, potentially mentoring, things like that.
That's great. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How's it going? You're suffering through the heat as well, huh?
Yeah. So I got an opportunity to listen in on your conversation too. That model you're talking about, that kiosk model, is exactly how I'm operating right now.
Yeah. It's a very effective way. Tell me a little bit more about it and what's good about it for you.
Yeah, so I left a fairly large brick and mortar where I was the office manager.
Which one were you at?
Pardon me?
Which one were you at?
It was Windermere.
Oh, okay.
Windermere Real Estate, and the broker of record there had two offices, one in Walnut Creek and one in Pinole.
Got it.
And I was his Pinole office manager for several years. After running the office for that many years and leading the agents and stuff, I said, I can do this. Why do I need to, give my broker a big chunk of my salary to run his business? So I came over here. I now have a team of, on record, there's 1.5, but there's probably, I've got 2 more agents signing up this week. So there's 5 of us in the office. All right.
Okay.
And I do have a small office. I've got about a 500 square foot office that I actually sublet from the El Sobrani Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So, that group is an all volunteer organization. And so the storefront that they have is usually empty. Well, for the last year, I've been in there. So not only do I get my foot traffic for my business, but I also get some chamber foot traffic.
Excellent.
For potential leads. It's kind of cool.
That's great.
So, and totally love the experience so far. It's been a great ride this last year. I appreciate your help.
It really saves your pocketbook too, right? Subletting a small space.
Totally.
I had an 8,000 square foot space in San Francisco, right off Franklin and Van Ness. Exactly. It was literally a weight around my neck. And then when I decided to jettison all that space, because literally nobody came in, we had given away part of the space on the lease, and still nobody came in. And it was really tough. And my agents were just married, and this is a number of years ago, but my agents were married to the notion of just having an office, right? And it's only because that's what they knew. It wasn't anything that really gave them any additional cred. The way we were, where our office was located, there was no walk traffic. And I, made a hard decision. And the minute I jettisoned that office, got us into a little less than 2,000 square feet, and they were like, oh, well, I'm not going to have this office. I'm not going to have this. All of a sudden, my productivity went up. Not my personal, but my agents. All of a sudden went, oh my God, we can do these things. There's so much more, and it's a mindset, right? I mean, I hear this a lot because of the nature of what we are as a brokerage, and it's like, well, we're so remote, and we're this and we're that. And believe me, I get the collaborative energy that sometimes is necessary in a business like this. But do we physically need a space that we go and camp and kind of spend endless hours just watching each other and talking about sports, and you got to go to conference this year, and just hoping and waiting? So that's why I think the kiosk model will overtake pretty much most of the industry. You look at a company like Anywhere, which used to be Realogy, they're already adopting similar concepts and ideas, and it's a brilliant way to conduct real estate at this point in time.
Yep. The recruiting I used to do, that was one of the big questions agents would have is, where's my corner office? Where's
right?
It, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it was, the reality of it was, you get them that corner office, and then you never saw them.
You never saw them. They were never there. They
the producers you never see. They're never in the office, right?
Yep. So, they're never in the office.
Yeah. So this is great. And like you said, it doesn't hurt my feelings a bit to not pay $3-4 grand a month in rent to an empty building.
That's for sure. Next week we're going to talk about essentially being financially solvent in real estate. But, just kind of teasing that out a bit, I think that's where we fail a lot. I mean, from the day we get our licenses, everybody's in our pocket, and we think we have to spend. And remember the old adage, it used to be fake it till you make it. So you'd have agents going out and taking on more debt. I bought an expensive car, and, I'm wearing flashy suits or dresses or clothes or things like that. And, I'm buying all these lead systems now, which are thousands of dollars. And it's, and the net result is, if you just did the basics, if you just did the core work, you would have probably had the same results. Yep. And it literally is that fiscal responsibility that I think that agents were never taught because it's not part of our educational curriculum, and B, the myth of what people think real estate actually is. And you just nailed it with that statement of not having to pay $3, $4, $5 grand a month for an empty building. It's it's amazing. So yeah, it's real estate. Scott, how long have you been in the business?
I'm going into my 11th year.
Okay, so you and Chad have been around the same time. Were you in Joe's office? Was Joe the owner of Windermere? He worked with his sons. I'm trying to think.
Oh yeah, no, those. Yeah, they're the second Walnut Creek office. There's two Windermere offices in Walnut Creek, and those guys are in the second office. No, my broker was Mike Rowland.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, he was Pinole and Diablo Realty, which converted to Windermere.
Got it. Okay, yeah, I was trying to think of which one, and I'm having that senior moment. I can't think of Joe's last name.
Joe and Chris. Chris was his son, and I'm still not getting the last name either.
Yeah, that's exactly who it is. Okay, so so both of you guys have been in the. I'm going to just label it the sweet spot. You got in the sweet spot. You saw an escalation of prices, interest rates. Got super low. How are you guys weathering as leaders through this transitional market? It's not a down market, because a down market means nothing's moving. It's neutral. But the fact is, especially in our area, Scott, to where prices are sky high, inventory is non-existent. You've got sellers still sitting on the fence because they don't have a replacement property. How are you guys weathering through this change? What are some things that you're doing to continue to lead your teams and to build your business? That's open for either one of you.
Yeah, it's just honestly, it's a tough spot. But there's still buyers in. You need to find out who your serious buyers are right now and afford the interest rate.
I'm missing a little bit of that. You're breaking up. I don't know if that's my system.
I might have bad internet connection.
There we go.
There's still buyers out there.
Yeah.
There might not be as many, but the serious buyers, they're still there. They understand that their interest rates will go down in time.
I think buyers are plentiful for sure, but let's say the things that we do to generate business obviously is getting listings, getting folks who want to put their properties on the market. Are we leaning towards that behavior? Or are we still kind of focused on things will change, let's wait it out? What are some things that we're doing on that end?
I continue to market. What's been very popular for me in recent is back to the old postcards.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sending out postcards to absentee owners or for rental properties. And I got a brand new condo I'm putting on the market tomorrow.
Nice. And that's from a postcard campaign?
Yeah, $160 for the postcards.
Oh, excellent.
And I've got a $600,000 condo that goes on the market tomorrow.
Nice.
So, I mean, to me, it's just not, it's going back to what I used to do.
Yeah.
But I'm searching for people that are either renting right now in certain neighborhoods or people that own these properties that are out of state that can cash in. They've owned these properties for 10 years or so. They're selling them at 2 and 3 times what they paid for them.
Got it.
And they don't hate that so much.
No, they don't hate it so much. I will tell you, that's your room topic, Chad.
Got it.
That's your room topic. That's absolutely a winner right there. I mean, when we can get people to stop looking, solely within the box for sustenance, then you got a better performance, right? I just talking to an agent yesterday who, and this was his statement, not mine, but I'm paraphrasing a bit. He says, I'm doing everything. I'm posting Facebook ads. I'm getting leads from, he mentioned a couple of lead generators, but they're all junk. I've got my sphere out there working, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, what do you mean by working? And he said, they're posting on their sites too. You guys are getting a running theme here. All he talked about was social media. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying that's one strategy and it's a limited strategy, right? I mean, if you think about the amount of real estate that's transacted through social media is less than 1%. It's more of an introduction. Hey, this is the thing that I'm doing. I'd love to talk to you more about it. Or I'm going to be hosting this seminar. Use it as a platform of telling someone I've got this other thing that I'm going to do and I really want to talk to you about it. I think is more effective, in my opinion, than putting a static ad together that just says, I'm in real estate. Blech, aren't we all? Isn't everybody you know in real estate? Oh my God. You know what, Scott, when we were in Detroit, it was so funny. That one guy, I don't know if you saw him or not. He was working with the primary bartender, and he leans over to me and he goes, what do you guys do? And I said, we're in real estate. And he goes, I'm in real estate too. And I'm literally...
We're the bar back.
Right, you're a barback, but you're in real estate, and I have to appreciate his energy, but I'm literally just kind of going, yeah, how's that going? Because it's clear it's not going, but maybe he just loves barbacking. Who knows?
Maybe. He wasn't in Detroit for the same reason we were.
No, he was not. so it was kind of funny, but Chad, that's definitely one of those things that we were just discussing, which is, kind of bringing that to the table. It literally is giving, when we talk about leadership and to tie this all back, is giving as many opportunities as we can possibly give to create an effective outcome. And, like I said, when we continue to fish in the same pond, right, even though we know the fish are in a dark spot that's unclear or unknown to us, we're going to have the same results over and over again. So,
agreed.
Scott, what are some things you're doing kind of to navigate through this? Some things that you're working with your agents on, things you're doing yourself?
Yeah, last year, the Contra Costa Association Realtors put on a thing called the Big Event. I don't know if you go to that. And they brought out the one of the economists from CAR who told us that listings in particular were going to come from trusts, probates, there are people moving out of the state, out of the area for work, right? That's been my business model for the past year, just accidentally. I have a relationship, and one of my team members has a relationship with a couple of different estate planning attorneys.
Oh, beautiful.
So we kept in contact with those folks almost immediately after that event. We made a point of getting out there and saying hi again to them, reminding them who we were. So that's been one component. But probably a bigger pipeline for me has just been community involvement.
Okay.
Physical community involvement.
Tell me more about that. Now you're singing my language. I love hearing this.
So I've been very active with the local Chamber of Commerce. That's probably why I got such a sweet deal on the office, but I've been very active with them for many years. And I'm just, when they're doing something, I'm there doing it. So my name is out there, my face is out there, that folks see me literally work in the community.
Yeah.
So I talk about that, and one of my buzz lines is community minded, results oriented, and it comes through because they actually see me out there. And I've gotten, in fact, I got a call last night. I was just getting done finishing up my day, finished off a listing, getting ready to go home. I got a call from somebody at the chamber who said, we just had a close friend of the family pass away. I'm very sorry to hear that. The family's here from DC. I said, yep. Can you come over now? They need to sell the house. And 5:30 at night, I made a U-turn and drove over to that house and literally walked into the end of the family gathering after the memorial service. People were still in the house eating snacks and drinking and having a good time.
Right.
You can have at a funeral. But visiting with each other, and I walked into the middle of that, and I'm like, oh, okay. Spent 2 hours with the family, and that just the person who called me to see if I was available was somebody who met me through the chamber, and they were asked by the family, we got to sell the house. Do you know anybody in real estate?
Yeah.
That's all it took. That's an $800,000 listing.
Love it. Communities, Scott, you just made my entire day today, right? That's one of those things that gets missed in favor of things that is less risk, right? To post a Facebook ad or something on Twitter, or it's not called Twitter anymore, whatever it's called now, X and Insta and all these things is passive. It's safe. You don't have to sell your value proposition. You don't have to take a risk and get rejected. None of those things exist. But to be out in the community and somebody actually physically knows it's you. Oh, yeah, I saw you with this thing, or you're the guy who X, is an amazing generator. And I know we've limited our options over the last 3 years because of COVID and some post-COVID protocols and things like that. But now's the time to get back out in the streets. I mean, there's business to be had, and you've got to be present in your community.
One thing I'd say, Scott, that a good friend of mine does, she works one neighborhood, and that one neighborhood generates $15 million a year in sales. She goes to the farmer's market. She has a tent there, just gives stuff away. But she also teaches yoga. She goes to the swim classes, all those different things in this one neighborhood. And if you buy or sell in that neighborhood, you know her.
Okay.
But you're right. It's physical interaction with people within the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Does everybody know her as the person to go to? Or you mentioned that there's no real big dog, in these neighborhoods. Does everybody?
Well, there's a lot of huge realtors. I mean, it's a very nice neighborhood that we lived in, but they know her because everyone talks about her. I even made a joke when I sold my home there that I'm going to need to call Annie to sell my home.
And you're like, wait a minute, I got a license. What the hell?
No. And she's laughing. She said, I'll be happy to help you. It's just a joke because we've known each other for a long time.
That's great.
But even when I had a newspaper come out and do an article on the neighborhood, and I did an interview on that, and I brought her over to be a part of that interview, even though we were on different teams, because she brings that much credibility.
Phenomenal.
Because she is part of that community, but in a fun way, not in a pushy sales way.
Yeah, I would really love it if, the both of you were interested in leaning into rooms a bit. I know you said, Chad, that it's really difficult to get an audience, and that's true with anything. But, honestly, with a little self and company promotion, I'd love to lean into some of these things.
Sure.
And I'm not picking on you gentlemen because you're a little older. I'm saying from a wisdom standpoint and from an experiential standpoint, right? Because there is a certain segment or a certain generation that haven't really had to interface with others in a live forum, so it's not germane to them. It's not instinctual. It's not natural, and that therefore it's a lot more difficult to engage in that way. But again, we're losing out on so many opportunities by failing to do what Scott just talked about, which is being present in the community. And what you were talking about with your person who's involved in yoga and all these things is, real estate at the end of the day will always be a community-based thing. It's never going to be this, I'm in whatever other country and I'm seeing this neighborhood and it's part of my ecosphere. It won't happen. It's always going to be local. You're always looking at, the people in the neighborhood that you want to live in. You're looking at, how they upkeep their homes and, how they interact and interplay with others. All those things are critical to maintain success and will continue to, even though we're contracting from a brick and mortar lifestyle. So definitely would love it if you guys were interested. I'd love to host it with you.
I'm open to that.
Cool. Help to generate some buzz. And again, because you're trying to grow, the more buzz we can get around you, the more interest you'll have in folks going, hey, you hiring? You looking for somebody on your team? It's just an organic process. So,
okay, let's do it.
Listen, gentlemen, I will put something together. Chad, let you and I get on calendar and have a more in-depth conversation around kind of where you're wanting to be.
Yep.
And then let's go from there.
Cool.
Ideally, if we could do it Monday or Tuesday of next week, I'm kind of impacted this week, so it would be difficult to carve out some additional time. But I will definitely make time for you on Monday or Tuesday, and let's see if we can't get the ball rolling.
Good deal.
Okay. And Scott, I will see you sometime soon. We may be doing something here in the Bay Area in the next 30 days, but I don't have confirmation yet, but I'll let you know for sure.
Hey, I got something real fast. I got something for you on Sunday, September 17th.
Okay.
Sunday, September 17th, the El Sobrani Chamber is doing their annual stroll. They close the main street in downtown El Sobrani, which is San Pablo Dam Road. They close it off, and they just do a giant block party for the community.
Right on.
Hundreds of booths. I'll be there.
Yeah.
In my booth, and there's about 25,000 people go through there in that day. Car show, parade, the whole thing.
Oh, you have me a car show.
Please come. Anybody who's on the screen, come and see that, and you can see community action in action.
Love it. I will invite Michael as well. Michael lives.
Yeah, I'm talking with Michael about getting some stuff together with Loan Desk on that.
That would be great. Yeah, absolutely. I will. Do me a favor. Can you send me a quick email about it?
Absolutely.
And I will put that on calendar.
Okay.
Awesome.
Done.
And I appreciate the time today. I will talk with you both later.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.